another gluten-free cooking tutorial. This time it's a dessert though, and I made this dessert for the first time last week and it was really good. I did tweak one thing on it though. The cake when I made it the first time, blah blah blah, was really dense, and I'm going to try and lighten it up a little bit this time by adding some baking powder that wasn't in the original recipe. So I'm going to go through it now. Extremely easy. Don't worry if you're not following along with the ingredients. You can find them in the description box, or it could be on the website www.itsbeyondreality.com, so check it out there. There's some other fun stuff on there too if you want to check it out. Alright, so let's begin. First of all, you want to mix all of the wet ingredients together, and that's 3 eggs at room temperature. It will rise better if it's at room temperature. If you put cold eggs in there, it's not going to get as light and fluffy, so make sure they're at room temperature. We've got a ½ cup of Special Dark Cocoa. It's this one, the Hershey's Special Dark, and a ½ cup of boiling hot water. So what you're going to do is mix the 2 of these together and let that dissolve in there. Then you'll have over here 2/3 of a cup of butter. Actually, I lied, it's 1/3 of a cup of butter. 6 tablespoons. Some pure vanilla. Probably like a tablespoon would be really good. So get all of the wet ingredients mixed together and then we'll check back. Alright, so there it is, all mixed together. I'm doing mine in my KitchenAid just because it's easier. You can definitely do it in a regular mixing bowl, it's just more work. So I prefer to let the machine do it. Now the dry ingredients. You want to mix those in a separate bowl, and they call for 2 cups of whole almonds, and that is equal to 3 of the crushed up almonds. You don't have to use whole almonds. I'm using the almond meal flour, which is basically crushed up almonds. But if all you had was whole almonds, you could definitely put it in a food processor and make it really fine. So that's 3 cups of that, a ½ teaspoon of salt. I'm putting in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. The original recipe doesn't call for it, but I didn't like the denseness of it. I would like it to be a little more light and fluffy like a cake and less like dense. So I'm putting in some baking powder. And 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Now they call for 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar, but I'm using this stevia in the raw that I just got this week. I want to try it out. And it says that it measures cup for cup, just like real sugar, so we'll see what happens. What you want to do is you just want to combine this before you put it into the wet ingredients, and add it a little bit at a time, because if you dump that whole thing into the KitchenAid, it's going to go flying everywhere. It's going to be a big cloud of mess. So just add, I would say, 1/3 at a time until it's incorporated, and then we will get it in the oven. Alright, so there's the last bit going in. And once it's all together, I'm going to use my spatula over here and scrape it into my pan. Now they say to use a springform pan, but you can use pretty much any pan that's about that size. You know, about an 8-inch round or a 9-inch round. I'm going to pop that in the oven at 350 for 40 to 45 minutes. Alright, so the timer just went off. It's been in the oven for 40 minutes. I'm going to attempt to take this out with one hand. Alright. Oh, looks delicious. It's all puffed up. It'll probably shrink a little bit as it cools, but we'll let that cool off for a little bit and then we'll give it a taste. Alright guys, so there's the cake out of the oven. My husband served his up with a little bit of icing. And thoughts?
It's a little bitter.
But it is dark chocolate in its defense.
Right.
It is lighter than the last time we made it. The baking powder definitely helped the situation. The flavor will change too as it cools off and it like settles more into what it is. You know how they say it's always better the next day? This cake is probably better the next day when it's all cooled off and everything and settled in. When it's hot, you can't really tell, but it does look pretty fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Until next time, much love. Alright guys, so here's the full disclosure scoop. This is the day after. You can see it's a very firm cake. It is a little bit bitter. What I would do next time when I make this is not use 100% stevia in the recipe. I wouldn't use any more than, say, half stevia and half real sugar. Otherwise, it's not going to be enough to counteract the bitterness of the dark chocolate. So hope that helps. And probably I would cook it about 5 minutes less because it's a little bit dry. So happy cooking!